What's up, guys? Welcome back to another YouTube exclusive clip. I'm your host, Drew, with my other host right here next to me.
What's up? It's D.
We had to hop on right now. I know we just dropped our podcast yesterday, but there's some news coming out this week.
There is items to discuss. But before we get into that, go ahead and like this. Go ahead and subscribe. We really appreciate it. Comment, throw some comments in there. All that really helps as far as the algorithm.
Yeah, and we're going to be discussing who we think should be the next Broncos head coach. So go ahead and comment who you think the next Broncos head coach is going to be or should be. But if it happened, man, Russell Wilson gets head coach fired. What are you feeling about Nathaniel Hackett?
He's going to go down. It's Tom Sula level as far as what happened, but I can't even knock him specifically. This is all a product of the Russell Wilson trade. Russell Wilson, just even before this, he had a track record of making offensive coordinators look bad. No offensive coordinator from Russell Wilson has went on and got a head coaching job. And I think that's due to, I don't want to say it's because of him, but I don't know if necessarily he elevates play callers or he makes them look good. He rewards play callers. So it's just tough. Nathaniel Hackett, maybe he goes on. I know there is buzz of him going on to the 49ers because Kyle Shanahan was actually trying to add him to his staff earlier in the offseason before he got the head coaching spot. So maybe he goes there. He looks good. Kyle Shanahan, all he does is make head coaching candidates and he gets another shot. But, it's real tough to bounce back from that.
I just really don't know what to make of Hackett himself as a head coach. He took over a talented roster on paper, and it just never got going. A lot of young receivers that, they have games where they perform and then they have games where they don't. And whether you could put that on Russell Wilson or Hackett or Jerry Jeudy dropping some balls, injuries with Cortland Sutton and things like that. And then you have this running back room that did not perform at all how we thought they were going to, with Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon just becoming unplayable, which I picked him up in fantasy when Javonte went down, thinking this is going to be a starting back, and the guy can't hold on to the football. And that's something Hackett can't control. So I don't know if he gets another head coaching job right off the bat. I highly doubt it. Depending on the league, or they're just it was all Russell Wilson. Let's not hold it against Hackett. But he is going to go be a coordinator somewhere for sure. Where that is, I don't know. Maybe, back at Green Bay.
Yeah, I could see that. Hey, you know what? We need to keep Aaron Rodgers happy. We're not going to give him a receiver. We'll go ahead and get him this OC that he really likes. So.
Outside candidate, if Bill Belichick wanted to try to fix things and take a big swing, go to New England and see if he can kind of amp that offense up. But as far as the Broncos, they gave up 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 3 players, and a 5th, other picks as well, for Russell Wilson. How has that trade panned out for them?
Oh, it's put a black mark on Payton, and the owner has already come out and said the new head coach is not going to report to the GM. He's going to report directly to me. So this is basically Payton had a lot of juice heading into this job, and it completely took all of the air out of the room. He has no more power even left in that organization. So he's a lame duck. He's basically the head of scouting now. He is no longer the GM. The owner is going to be making all the decisions moving forward. So that's what a trade like this will do. It's real tough. I don't know if anyone that was in on this decision is going to look back on it and be oh, it was a bump in the road. It's going to be a major mark on everybody's resume moving forward.
And it's not just that you traded for Russell Wilson. It's that you trade for him and you paid him. Whoever takes this job is stuck with him. And right now it's Jerry Rosberg's job to win or lose. This is the guy that Nathaniel Hackett brought in to help him with clock management
Out of retirement.
Because Hackett didn't understand how to manage the clock and coach a team. Which is already red flag for hiring a coach. He doesn't know how to do that. Shout out Jeff Saturday. And what the reason we're covering this is because DeMeco Ryans was like a big name, first immediately named coming out as a favorite for this job. And I was just thinking, if I'm DeMeco Ryans, do I even want this job where you're tied to Russell Wilson for at least like 3 or 4 years?
Well, there's a couple of things in this. One, you're a defensive guy, so there's no way you can help Russell Wilson. What are you going to do as DeMeco Ryans? What can you go in there and do? You can chew his ass out. You can't make him play any better. You can't make the team like him more. You can't like make him stop acting weird. So, all right, let's say you do take this job. Who do you have as your offensive coordinator? Do you go out and get like Josh McCown to come in and be your offensive coordinator? I could see that because they have that connection. Are you going to try to pull Anthony Lynn to go be your offensive coordinator? But it's like, again, like who wants to go and be stuck with Russell Wilson? It's really hard. So they had to win you over to get the job if you're DeMeco Ryans. Then you have to win someone else over to be like, hey, like come be my offensive coordinator, even though, again, no offensive coordinators from Russell Wilson have moved on and been like head coaches in the league. It just doesn't happen. It's not a stepping stone to a next level of coaching. It's more of a like it cements you in at that OC or lower.
And I don't know, to me, like I feel like this last offseason before Hackett, this was kind of a job where you're like, wow, oh,
damn,
like,
I could take this.
This
cool.
could be a good landing spot for me. And now it turns into, to me, who says yes to this dress? Right now, the list of like coaches being discussed that Broncos are considering, it's kind of like a unattainable list to me. It's like if I listed all my celebrity crushes, of course I'm not going to get any of them, but I could put them on a list and it look nice. Right now, Broncos list includes Dan Quinn, Darrell Bevell, Eric Bieniemy, Sean Payton, and DeMeco Ryans. And it's like, yeah, that's people that I would call, but are they answering the call? Who says yes to that job? Like on that list, does anyone say yes?
I would say no. I think that Sean Payton is rallying to already put together a staff. He's already hit up Vic Fangio. I don't see them wanting to go to Denver, especially with Vic coming from Denver and giving him the inside scoop of like, hey, no, if they're worse than what I did, like there's no way we're going to salvage it. You know what I mean? So I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe Dan Quinn just as a bounce back, like, hey, like I've taken this team before, like I can kind of do as long as you're going to give me the full reins and the full go of it, like let's do it. That's the one guy I could see like, but again, who is he going to have as his OC? Like, you know what I mean?
And it's tough for me to picture like Bieniemy to go in there. And when we already hear of like when Bieniemy goes into interviews and clashes with people and maybe doesn't have like the easiest mindset to work with a quarterback, especially one with an ego and one who's kind of set in his ways. Like he kind of has the perfect situation with Mahomes over there, who is like very humble but amazing and can do everything he wants him to do. So there really doesn't have to be any clash. But to get him a veteran quarterback who is used to his ways, I feel like Bieniemy should be in a situation where he gets a young rookie and can like mold him to set his standard. You know,
yeah,
I don't really see Bieniemy working smoothly with Russell Wilson. Dan Quinn is the person where I'm like, all right, you've been a head coach before. No one was really banging on your door, even though you've looked good as a coordinator recently. And it could be something where he's like, I don't know if I'm going to get another like head coach opportunity. This might be my shot. But I don't know, man. If you're killing it as a coordinator, at this point, do you wait for the perfect job or do you just say it's a head coach job? I don't know if it's going to come around.
I mean, there's only 32 of them available. Like, you know what I mean? And even then, available every season, there's 4 or 5. So it's like,
because at the end of the day, DeMeco's going to have options.
Yeah. And if I was DeMeco, I would wait for the perfect job. Like, I'm not taking that Denver job where I'm forced, I'm grandfathered into a 5-year deal that starts in this offseason with Russell Wilson, especially this version of Russell Wilson. I'm not doing it. But if I'm a second chance guy like Dan Quinn, it's, again, very rare for people to get a second go around of being a head coach.
And these are kind of the jobs that second time head coaches do get, like the middle of the road we can't get this flashy young head coach to come fix things. We don't want the old vet. We just want like someone who can kind of find our identity. Like, are we gonna fall back and tank and like rebuild this and the next head coach will be the guy? Or is this head coach gonna get the juice out of this team and push us to that 9-10 win mark? So that does feel like Dan Quinn can be that middle of the road guy. Like, maybe we get something here, maybe we tank. So it doesn't look like we're trying to tank.
And you need guarantees. Like, I need to be guaranteed that I'm not going to get fired in the first year. Because, again, this is not my guy. I didn't make this decision. You guys did. This is on you. So, like, if I'm here to clean up your mess, I need, like, I need a guarantee of you're not going to let me go after 1 year, no matter how bad we look. Because, again, this is your quarterback. This is not mine. And so you deal with it.
And as like a ownership and front office, you need a guarantee that you're getting a head coach that can be a head coach and like hold this locker room together, because we're seeing this locker room fall apart right now. They got the backup quarterback throwing hands with not throwing hands, but damn near like getting pushed away and pushed down from the offensive lineman on the sideline. You have wide receivers jumping up and down on the field in frustration, and you need a head coach in there that you know for sure is going to be like the boss. He's going to hold things together, even if they're losing. Like,
you need a professional, a true professional.
Like, look at the Texans. The Texans have Lovie Smith. Like, no one is seeing anything bad about that locker room or them falling apart. And they have 2 wins.
Yeah.
And they're competitive every week. And you need someone in Denver like that to just hold things together, because it's not going to be good next year. I'm telling you right now, Broncos, it's not going to be good. But if you can get someone to steady the ship and maybe make them buy in, they can be, above average.
Do you think they just go for broke and like, this guy is a billionaire, their owner? Like, do you think they just go for broke? It's not going to count against their cap if they just overpay on Sean Payton.
Would Sean Payton do it? Like, that's the
depending
thing,
on how many zeros are on that check. Like, you never know. You know what I mean?
But then if it does, say for some reason Sean Payton doesn't work out and you like paid him John Gruden money, you just wasted all that money on Russell and you wasted all that money on Sean Payton. Like,
but I mean, we've seen like John Gruden didn't work out. You know what I mean? So it's not.
And
like,
Raiders are still paying for it, and
yeah, and they can't even pay Josh McDaniels out. But anyways, like, you take that swing when you have a guy that you think is the guy, like the perfect candidate.
Look at Urban Meyer. Sean Payton would look at this job and say, I don't want Russell Wilson. And that's why he would not take the job.
I'm kind of talking myself into this now. So let's say Sean Payton looks at it and it was like, okay, I could do 3 years with Drew Brees, who was shot. Like, I could take them to the NFC Championship. I could take them to the playoffs. We're consistently winning. Well, think about what I can do with Russell Wilson. I can revert him back to, let's just, meat and potatoes. Let's get this offense where it needs to be. And then I could also draft somebody later on after year 3 when Russell Wilson's contract is a little bit more palatable to release. I think you could talk Sean Payton into it if he's the guy.
Here's the problem. Drew Brees was about the team, and he was willing to step back his game. Russell Wilson still thinks he's like an MVP candidate.
He's not, yeah.
Like, level player. And he's not going to be like, oh, let's run the ball, let's play defense, let's win 10-6. Like, he wants to air it out, and he wants to do all the Russell Wilson things that he thinks he can still do. And that's where the clash is going to happen with the Sean Payton.
Well, I think Sean Payton can actually put him in his place. Like, if anyone's going to be able to be like, Russell,
I don't
shut
think
the fuck up.
That's
like,
a big ego to put in place, man.
But someone has to, like, eventually someone has to do it and be like, Russell, you're not that fucking guy. Like, you're not that guy. You're not that guy.
Until he turns into Cam Newton and no one's able to get through to him.
And just out the league.
And you're just out the league because you in your own mind, you're like, I'm MVP level, but your game and physically you can't do it. Like, no one will want to work with that. Like, after this contract,
I don't even think he makes it to the end of this. I think someone's going to eat it and just cut him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, after this stint with the Broncos, if Russell Wilson, like, say he stays this level of play, after this stint with the Broncos, who's going to want him at the money that Russell Wilson thinks he deserves. It's going to be a Russell Westbrook situation.
That's true.
But I don't know. Comment who you think the next head coach should be. And yeah, go and like, comment, subscribe.
Later.